So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to predict zones in Fortnite. There's going to be 3 parts. The first part is the example. Second part is how to do it. And third part is why it works relative to the game mechanics and why it even exists in the game. Like, how could we even do this? It kind of looks like voodoo magic, but it actually isn't. It's very simple. This is not a secret that a lot of people sort of give away for free, but I don't really care for that. I have no incentive to keep it to myself. So let's talk about it.
Go where?
Towards Sleepy.
Towards Sleepy?
Yeah, 100%. It's gonna pull north.
Okay.
Wrap around right. You're gonna go like north of the bridge that you see down there. Get on one of these buildings. Doesn't actually matter.
Like where?
I like the deeper north ones.
Over here?
No, the north ones look better.
Okay. Can I get in the one I have marked?
Yeah, 100%. If you get on top of that, Surge is gonna be good, and we should pull zone.
Yep, nice, good calls, Brivy.
Yep.
All right, so how do we do it? In this specific part, I'm going to show you guys how to replicate that sort of zone prediction. Now, a quick disclaimer before I start. Really make sure it makes sense for your game. In this specific game, Doniee had all his surge covered and was super ready to start rotating deeper into Storm to get a position that satisfies zone 2 as well. That was the idea, right? Because if we satisfy zone 2 before it even shows, then we can actually pick our spot really well, because why would that specific area be super congested before we even get there, because no one else knows where zone 2 is. That was a mouthful, but hopefully that made sense. Replay that part if you need to. But in general, we're just trying to predict zones and get there before zone 2 even shows, and that's exactly the point. Now, quick disclaimer again. This does not work all of the time. It just is a very high likelihood that it works. And I'll explain, this will make sense in part 3, right? And once you understand why it works behind the scenes, it'll make sense why it doesn't work all the time. It works like 80-90% of the time when zone pulls like this. So what are we looking for? Like, what's the giveaway, right? Why do we know zone's going to pull north again and towards Sleepy? It's really simple. This first zone actually pulls towards the water, and you can kind of see that it pulls really max north, right? And when I say max north, I mean like there's no extra space for this zone to actually go up again. Does that make sense? So like I can't actually move this circle like this. It's max, right? This is the boundary of the game, and that's it. And if there's actually a lot more map space under here, kind of sort of cut off this picture, but this zone pulls really far north, and that's the dead giveaway. This sort of works really well with for zone 1 and zone 2 together. It can work for zone 2 and zone 3, but specifically works really well with zone 1 zone 2. So what you want to do is sort of look for these zone 1s, and when you see this, it's the giveaway sign, right? We know next zone's going to pull up here in this specific area, so that's what I did, right? I told Doniee to go sit there because he's done his surge, he's done his mats, he has good loot, he has everything he needs. He just needs to get positioning, right? And we don't want to, like, usually if we don't have surge, I would tell him to go base up on Daily Bugle, because that's where he's like really nice position to get surge, or like on top of main or something, because that's good elevation. We can get tags before we sort of rotate, but that's already done, right? So he already got 100-200 tags before that because of took some skirmishes, took some fights. Because that's already finished, we just took the rotate. And I told him, I'm like, okay, like at this point we know zone's going to pull here already. Why not just go base up there now while it's uncongested before people already know where the second zone is? Because if we wait until second zone shows and give it like maybe 20 more seconds after second zone shows, everyone's going to be rotated in, and then it's really hard for us to enter after. So why not enter earlier before it's congested? And that's the benefit that we got. So we got a really easy rotate, we got into the position, and then we saved so many mats because we didn't get held by anyone. That's the key. That's the benefit, and I really hope you guys can sort of replicate this into your own games. Just make sure it makes sense. Don't just fall into the trap of just like, let's say you're bottom left of the map, that's your POI, and just rotate all like this without metal because you want to get into zone. Have your priorities. It's very important to sort of fix surge, fix mats before you go into zone. So just understand that aspect of it. And one more thing I want to add, like, let me show you another example. Let's say zone pulls really far left. Like, this is first zone like this, right? Let's say that's first zone, right? And I land Daily Bugle. It's kind of hard for me to like rotate like this super early, but let's say I get like 1 kill off spawn, 2 kills off spawn, surge is done, I get really fast mats because I found a llama. Cool, I have nothing else to do. I'm gonna take a car and do this, right? And just rotate in and go sit on one of these hills. Boom. Why? Because I know next zone's gonna pull like this, right? Now again, like I said before, it's not a guarantee, but it's like super high chance, super high chance. And again, in the next part, you'll understand why that is. Cool, that's a good example. We'll go on to the next part. So as we get into this part, it's super important to understand one fact which absolutely makes all of this come together, which is the fact that zones are determined in reverse order, specifically zones 1 to 4. Now, let me explain this further, right? So when you load into the game, zone 4 is immediately determined and it's shown on the map. So they pick a spot, right? And then zone 3 is picked. Now there's a condition here. Zone 3 has to encompass zone 4. In other words, zone 4 has to be inside of zone 3. Cool. Now we do zone 2. Zone 2 has to encompass zone 3, and then zone 1 has to encompass zone 2. And then finally, we have all our zones. We can load into the game. We play the game. Now, it's very important that we understand that it's in reverse order. Otherwise, none of this would work at all, right? And the reason that's the case, if I go to the map, right, and we sort of understand why that sort of helps, is because when we see zone 1 pull so far north, it's trying to encompass something, don't you think? Right? So like, because that's the case, and it's trying to encompass zone number 2 over here, it's very easy for us to predict that it's trying to encompass something invisible over there. So it must be the fact that, like, okay, it must be going really, really far north because of the fact that zone 2 is right here, right? And the fact that it pulls extreme, right? The fact that it goes out of its way to go really, really far north, you can then sort of predict that it's trying to get the edges of second up here. And that because that's the case, we can predict that second zone's up top. And so that's the gist of it, guys. So this is actually not something that's crazy new. This has been in the game for a while. I've known of this for a while, but I did want to mention it in case you guys had an opportunity in your own games next season to apply this. And then if you do have that application, having that sort of knowledge can help you sort of make this application if it's appropriate to do so. And like I said before, don't go out of your way to sort of like blow up your game just to get there, because that's not worth it. Make sure you have max metal, make sure you have, you know, good loot, and then decide whether it's worth it. But it's really good information nonetheless, so you can plan your rotates accordingly. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys have any questions in the comments, please leave them below. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. EST as usual, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.